Hey everybody, Aaron Blaise here, and sorry we're a little bit late. We were trying to experiment with an extra camera, and it didn't work out, but we're going to get that resolved, and we'll have it next week. But we were talking last week. I was doing some work at my animation desk, and here I am, back at my animation desk again. And we were talking last week about me doing some animation, some traditional animation, retro, old school, drawing on paper. And so I thought that would be kind of fun today. I've been working on a brand new course for my website, creatureartteacher.com, on acting for animation. And so I've been working on this shot, and I've created this character. He's this big, burly kind of guy. And I thought it might be kind of fun just to do a simple, like, head turn or something like that. Something that, if you guys, for you beginners and things like that are watching, it might be kind of fun to follow along if you want to try it on paper. So I thought we would do that today, and play with expression, and I can talk about what I think about there. As usual, I've got Dustin with me, my son. Say hi, Dustin.
Hey guys.
And I don't think we're going to have Nick this time around, but we will try to answer as many questions as we can, and we'll just have some fun today. You want to just go ahead and dive in, Dustin? Do we have a good crew watching?
Oh yeah, we do.
You got to stay hydrated.
Water is your best friend.
Water. All that drawing, boy, it takes it out of you. All right, so
let me become addicted to water.
I gotta put my spectacles on. All right, let's go ahead and switch cameras, Dustin.
Already
done. All right. So this is my animation disc. This is where we're gonna do the magic, and I'm drawing on 16 field animation paper, and I've got this graphite pencil holder. It's just a big chunk of graphite that I have in here. I think it's about a 2B, or not 2B, but anyway, it's
nice.
I think you like that.
Yeah.
I think it's 2B, and I like drawing with big, thick pencils. Glenn Keane, who was my mentor, who many of you might know, many of you may not know. Glenn Keane is a great contemporary animator. He just got the Oscar for Deer Basketball for Best Animated Short. And when he was teaching me animation, he got me started using these big, thick pencils, and I've always loved it because you can go really fat on one edge and you can get really detailed at the same time. But I've got this character. He's this big, burly guy, and I think I want to do like a close-up, head and shoulders kind of shot. And I want to start from behind. I started doing some thumbnails earlier. Let me show you. Here's some quick sketches that I did earlier. I don't know if you can see these or not very well, but I want to kind of have him, here he is with his head turned away from us. And I want him to slowly turn his head around. If you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Slowly turn his head around. And I thought that might be kind of an interesting thing to do here. And we might not go this far. We might stop before we get that far, because I don't want to quite turn the whole body. I just want, can you switch cameras, Dustin? Back to me. I want to turn, so his shoulders are here, and then he just turns and looks like this, and maybe a little toward camera. So the shoulders are not going to move a little, not too much. I want that twist in the body. So that's what we're going to go for today. So I'm going to go ahead and start drawing, and then Dustin, if you want to man the questions, we'll just go ahead and dive in.
Where do you get the animation paper?
This paper I got from a friend of mine, actually, who gets it from a company that I can't remember the name of right now, so that's a completely wasted question. Sorry. But there's a lot of different places online where you can get animation paper. And I'm going to turn shoulders this way. I want him to have big trapezius muscles. Ear.
How old is that desk?
This desk is, oh my gosh, well, 1989, so almost 30 years. I'm going to put a little tilt in the head. And this desk in particular, I've been using this desk for 25 years. I animated The Lion King on this desk, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, a whole bunch.
Did anyone ever use the desk before you? Or
Yes, there was a few people that used it before me, but then once I got a hold of it, at one point, then we just started keeping our desks, and so if we moved offices, we would move our desk as well. Although, you know, in the beginning, we if we moved offices or areas, we would just leave the desk and pick up the desk that was in the new place. But after a while, we started customizing our desks, and like I've got some carvings on my desk and things like that. And so they just decided, you know what, let's just let them keep their desk from office to office. And so when I left Disney, I bought this desk, and I have kept it with me. So here we are with our starting pose. Let me get his hair in here. Looking at him from behind. I want that big, burly look to him.
Can you make your own light box?
You could make your own light box, sure. I never have, but you could make your own light box.
Do you have any experience with pixel art and pixel animation?
Pixel, oh yeah. Well, I mean, I do hand-drawn animation, if that's what you mean, on digitally, using the software I use is TV Paint.
What it means by pixel art is making it look like 8-bit, where you fill in pixel art squares.
Oh, no, I don't do that. I haven't done that.
And how do you make your own light box?
That's a whole other video. Sorry, but that's a big video. So
Make a
here,
video
what I'm
called
going to
Do It
do,
Yourself.
I want him to start turning his head.
Does the desk come with the light table and disc?
It does, right here. So you can see, there's my light table underneath. I don't use a light table. I like to flip. I can see through the paper a little bit already. So I kind of want him to kind of lift his head a little bit.
How do you decide how many sketches are necessary?
You know, that just comes with experience. It depends on how fast you want an action to happen in. And then once you know the speed that you want, it just comes with experience as far as knowing how long it's going to take.
How did you get the inspiration to draw this guy?
I was just sitting around. Like I said, I'm doing this course on acting for animation. And see, I'm starting to turn his shoulder. And I'm doing this course on acting for animation. And so I wanted to do a shot of anger. I wanted to show what it's like to animate anger. And so many people will get in there and just start thrashing stuff and throwing it around. And, you know, anger for me, to make it really intimidating, especially with a big character like this, it's the slow burn. It's watching the fuse burn and waiting for the explosion, not knowing when the explosion is going to happen. And so I wanted to create a character that would be intimidating for that. And so I created this guy. And so I'm animating this shot now where he's just sitting there, and it's a full body shot, and it's a slow burn, and he's just...
Don't mean to make a tripwire cord behind you, but your head was kind of in the way of the drawing, so I'm just trying to get.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Just as long as it's not too foreshortened.
I think this.
So I try to go fairly quickly too. You'll see I'm going pretty rough. So I'm probably going to turn his head quite a bit on this next one, just because I want, and then I'll do in-betweens.
Are there any scenes that you animated while at Disney that you think you could do better now?
Oh, I think there's a lot of scenes I animated at Disney I could probably do better now. But you know, it's at the time I did the best I could. There's shots of Beating the Beast that, you know, I was a young animator at the time, and I know that what I meant to say is I wish I could go back and, you know, maybe redo some of those, but you can't. You do the best you can when you're doing it.
Rowan, how much time did it take for you to stop drawing skeletons or the base body, or you still use them?
Oh, I don't draw skeletons. No, I think of my basic shapes of what, you know. I think of a skeleton underneath, you know, for this guy. You'll see here.
Are you animating in keys first, or is it straight ahead?
This is pretty much straight ahead. I mean, there's going to be some in-betweens in there, but you can see him starting to turn his head.
And somebody mentioned it kind of looks like John Henry,
Yeah,
with the big upper body and the...
that's interesting. Who said that? Was that Tim?
Let me see here. Who said that?
Was that Tim Hodge?
Ideas Animation.
Who's that?
Ideas Animation.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I didn't know if that was Tim Hodge. Because Tim Hodge worked on John Henry. And I know he watches here every once in a while. So here I'm just going in and throwing in a few details so I don't get too lost. I try to draw rough, but I try to also draw clean enough that I don't get lost in the line work. And that chin is too rounded. It feels too fat. So I want some strength to it, so I'm going to square it off.
So when is Acting for Animation expected to come on the website?
That one's going to take a while. It's going to be a few months, so it's just there's a lot of animation that I'm going to be doing for it, and I need to get that done, and then I'm going to break each scene down that I animate and explain my thinking and the whole process behind it. So that's just going to take some time.
So you don't have to do a timing sheet before you start? How do you...
No, I usually do my timing sheet after, because I'm feeling it as I go. I'm feeling it in my head as I go.
And how do you make sure that the timing and spacing is what you want?
Well, that's when I'll usually shoot it. For something as simple as this, I can time that out in my head. But usually for something that's more complex, I'll shoot it, and then I can adjust timing after I shoot it. So here we got 3 drawings.
Would acting out a scene before animating be ideal?
So I do that sometimes. Sometimes I'll, you know, especially for something that's mechanically complex, I will shoot it. I'll act it out, shoot it on video, and then I'll keep that as reference. I'll never draw over the video. I'll never rotoscope, but I'll use it as reference. Because rotoscoping, it stiffens the animation. There we go. Can you see that okay? Is it coming up all right?
Oh yeah, coming out good.
And the other thing too is you'll notice, because I'm using this big fat pencil, I don't have to sharpen my pencil. I don't have to sharpen it.
Why is the guy so angry?
He's had a rough life.
He had a rough time. Would you rather abandon your drawing or fix it?
No, I never fall in love with my drawings. If I'm struggling with a drawing, I'll dump it and start over.
What's your fondest memory of your time at Disney?
I've got a lot of great memories. I get that question a lot. And I think my greatest memories are just the work that I was able to do with so many great people. So I'm trying to twist the shoulders, but not twist the shoulders, but not as much as I'm twisting the head.
Could you eventually do a video on how to animate camera movement?
That's tough. I've very rarely ever had to actually animate camera movement. That's really tough. So here I want to get really specific with his eyes, and that's not quite working.
What do you think about cross-hatching?
What do I think about cross-hatching? Cross-hatching is fine. It works great for, you know, for whatever you need to use it for, shading or whatever the case might be.
For the latecomers in here, what's the pencil that you're using?
This is it's just a graphite holder. You know, you can put all kinds of stuff in there. You just push the button down here and it opens up. And then here I've got a 2B graphite lead in there.
Are you a fan of Don Bluth?
Oh yeah.
I think one of my favorites from my childhood of his was
Secret of Nim.
Secret of Nim was good. I really enjoyed 5 Goes West.
Oh yeah. So here, as his head turns, you're going to see more and more of the nose.
Is it necessary to develop your own style to become a successful working artist?
Well, yeah, I mean to a certain degree, but your style, I get this question a lot too. How do I develop my style? Your style will evolve automatically. Your style will just evolve automatically.
Is it necessary to create your own?
It's necessary to have, I mean, you're going to have a style automatically. And people, if you're as a successful illustrator or animator, people will hire you for your style because of your style. I'm drawing that eye. If you look, I'm getting kind of picky, but if you look, the eye has gone up just a little too high. So what I want to do, I want to drop that eye down. I want that brow to be, I want to make sure that the anatomy is right. So the bridge of the eye the bridge of the nose should be right about the top of the eye.
Do you offer animation services to small projects?
No, I don't. Not currently. I haven't done that in quite a while, not since we've started our business. And right now I'm just more focused on education and creating courses.
What's your character's name?
I don't know. He doesn't have a name. I'm going to drop that ear down too.
Probably call him Han Jerry.
Han Jerry?
Han Jerry.
Is that what somebody said?
No, I just made that one up.
Oh. So this ear here feels too high as well, even though I was trying to get it to feel like he was turning his head up a little bit, turning it sideways, but I'm going to pull that ear down. And quite often this is what we'll do. As the animation progresses, we'll make adjustments as we go.
What is your favorite 3D animated feature?
Oh, wow. I don't have, well, I mean, I love Up. I love anything that Pete Docter has done. I'm a huge fan of Pete Docter's work. I love his sense of emotion, the way he tells, gets across emotion in his storytelling. There we go. But, I loved Coco too, so. There, that feels better on that ear. You can see that head turning. But I want that eyebrow to be more angry. It's lifting a little bit. I want it to be lifting, but I want that
Would you ever do a series critiquing people's animation?
You know, we've been talking about it. We just need to find the right venue, the right way to do it, because we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of requests to do that, and so we just need to find the right way. That's something that we get questioned about it every week. Every time I do this, every time I do a live stream, I get asked to review portfolios, and we really do want to do it. We just have to find the right way to do it.
What's your favorite version of the Beauty and the Beast, the live action or the animated?
Well, come on, I worked on the animated, so I love the animated version. Got a lot of great memories working on that.
Was working with Brother Bear your best moment?
You know, I don't know that it was my best moment. Although it's up there. You know, directing was such a huge responsibility, and it was really, really difficult. But I've had some, you know, working on Lion King was great. Working on Beauty and the Beast was great. There was great times in there, but it was, you know, the whole project of Brother Bear was a huge learning experience for me. So it was great. So what I'm going to try to do now is I want to jump to what the last drawing is going to be. I want to get that last drawing.
Are you looking forward to Glenn Keane's Over the Moon, Phil?
Yes, very much so.
Do you scan the individual frames to get them on the computer?
Yes, this is how, we won't be able to do that here today. We're just not set up to do it for you. But yes, that's how we would do this, is I would scan these. And then they'd be on the computer.
How many drawings or sketches do you do per day?
Oh, it could, I don't know. It depends on what I'm doing. If I'm animating, I'll do a lot, obviously, right?
They can go from like one big one to like 200 to 300 small animated ones.
Yeah.
How many?
It really depends.
How many pages are you going to be doing for this?
For this, probably just a handful, maybe 10. This will be a fairly short live stream today, just to get you guys, just to see how we did it old school.
Way back in the day. Way back in my day, I was an animation lead. What kind of paper is that exactly? Like,
it's a certain thickness that we used at Disney that it's not too light, it's not too heavy, it's just right. It's the best way I can describe it.
Have you ever done prehistoric drawings? And if not, would you be interested in doing it?
Oh, of course. I've done a little bit, and it's something I'm very interested in. I love bringing things to life that we haven't seen in millions of years, let's say.
What happened with all the 2D animators when Disney stopped making 2D films?
That's a good question. A lot of them are just doing whatever. Some of them transitioned into the 3D world. There's a lot of, they went a lot of different ways. But here, what I'm trying to do, I want to keep, the shape of his head is very blocky. There's a side, there's a front. Big heavy forehead with a heavy brow. Like so.
Do you think there are jobs for 2D animators nowadays? I'd really like to learn 2D animation, but I've been told that it has no future and I should learn 3D instead.
Well, I think it's a good idea to learn 3D, but you can learn 2D as well. And yeah, I don't think it's dead. I think it's, there's opportunity out there. There's still commercials that are being done in 2D, and there we go. So here, what I'm trying to do is bring that jaw around. He's got this big, heavy jaw.
Do you think it'll make a huge comeback, 2D animation?
I think someday it will make a comeback. I think someday someone's going to have the chutzpah to make a 2D animated film. I think it's going to be a streaming company. I think it's going to be somebody like Netflix or Amazon. That's who I think is going to do it at some point.
That's why talking about all this 2D animation is making me think of there's a small YouTube group, and I can't remember their names, but they make this miniseries, like it's a trilogy so far, but it's called Bat Metal.
Uh-huh.
And they take these songs from this made-up band called Death Clock from this show Metalocalypse, and they animate a comedic version of Batman singing this hardcore metal.
Oh, that's funny.
And they call it Bat Metal. And it's absolutely hilarious, and it's all 2D animated. I think they use TV Paint for it.
Oh, cool.
And the animation for it is flawless. It's absolutely amazing.
There we go.
Gotta find a good question here.
A lot of times I like to throw in a little shadow. Just really want to get these eyes to pop.
What's your favorite character they ever worked on? P.S. Brother Bear's my favorite movie ever.
Probably my favorite character that I've ever worked on was the Beast. Animating the Beast was awesome. So you'll see that I really worked my keys. This is a key drawing right here.
Have you tried VR, especially for work? And if so, do you think it'll become mainstream for some art jobs?
I think it's in its infancy. I think VR has a huge future, obviously. I just don't. And I have tried. I've only tried it very briefly, and I love it. And I'd love to do more of it. And I think it's awesome.
I mean, has everyone seen Ready Player One? I honestly think that's going to be our future in the next 5-10 years.
Oh yeah, I think so too. There, I've got. See him turning his head. Can you see that?
Yeah, we got it. He looks very angry.
Yes. You can't see, he's turning his shoulders as well. But not quite as much, see? So now, we'll break that down. I'll do the in-betweens.
He kind of has that look like somebody accidentally threw a pie right in the back of his head and just and he just turns on like, like he's really angry. What's your favorite arachnid?
My favorite arachnid?
Unique question.
It is a unique question. I actually like all spiders. I like scorpions. I think they're all interesting. Probably a bird-eating spider, I think, is probably my favorite.
Bird-eating spider?
Yeah, I just find that, first of all, an awesomely cool name. And a spider that can eat birds, can catch birds, is pretty awesome.
It's such a simple name. Like, why is it called a bird-eating spider? Because it eats birds. That's think when it comes to spiders, my personal favorite is the tarantula.
Yeah, a bird-eating spider is a tarantula.
Oh, it is?
It's just the biggest of them, yeah.
Oh, it's the biggest of them. Gotcha.
So here, if you watch the path of the nose, see how his nose is coming up, and then it settles down. It comes up to a peak up here, it's up, and then it comes down. And so I want to follow that arc. So that nose, you say that I erased it, I want that nose to be up here.
Can you draw the soul of your character easily when you're trying to be clear with lines?
I try. I really try. Drawing the soul. It gets in my soul.
This turnaround is the look that my father gave me when it was time to bring home my report card.
Yeah, I think I gave Dustin this look a few times.
More than a few. But look at me now. How do you make your animations feel so lifelike?
That, you know what? You just have to. I do a lot of life drawing. I do a lot of study of expression. You know, the simpler you make your expressions, the clearer they are. So that's really important. I try to think spatially. Like my drawings, even though it's flat art, I'm thinking about it three-dimensionally.
It kind of looks a bit like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Maybe the last frame he needs a heightened eyebrow.
Let's try it. Let's try it. Whoever said that, and we'll. Whoops! I lost my pencil. Fell out of my mouth.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Oh no!
Let's push this one down.
What's your favorite comic?
You know, I was never a big comic kid. I know it's weird, but I never was.
How tough was your journey to learning digital painting?
It wasn't tough at all. I really took to. I started on a Cintiq, you know, pen display, so that helped a lot. And so to me, it's just like drawing on an easel. There we go. Push that eyebrow a little bit. How's that, Dustin?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Looks great. That just looks fantastic. Is Van Arts a good animation college?
Where?
Van Arts? VANARTS?
I've never heard of Van Arts.
What's the name of the table for drawing animation?
What's the name of the table?
Yeah.
An animation desk. This is a disc, if you're talking about this. This is an animation disc. You might be talking about that. So here, you notice how I'm bringing the eyebrow down? Oh, just slightly. I don't know if you do notice that. The eyebrow is coming down slightly, and then it's going to go up. Actually, I'm going to bring it down even more. And then we'll bring it up at the end.
This is my own question, but do you know if any companies still manufacture animation desks like these days? Or
No, not like these. These are Disney. These are made custom for our studio in Orlando. These particular desks.
Oh, really? So
There was only a
one of
finite
kind.
number made, yeah, and they just made them for us. They were designed specifically for us, and that's why they're so rare. There's only a certain number of them. And,
So they could probably sell that for a good price if you.
Well, plus
if you
this is
decide
yeah,
to.
it was used on the movie. I'm just never going to sell it. So.
Yeah.
After I kick the bucket, and you guys need money, then you'll sell it.
Even then, I'm sure we won't sell it either. It'll go down from generation to generation till eventually it's worth $1 billion. What character did you animate in the film Mulan?
I did Yao, the little guy that likes to fight all the time. I did Yao and all of the ancestors, the ghosts in the backyard.
Oh my.
Oh my. This guy, as I've been designing him this week and drawing him, I've really come to like this guy. He's actually a lot of fun to draw. And I'm actually gonna bring this eyebrow down as well. So I really liked whoever gave me that suggestion to bring his eyebrow up at the end. I like that. That'll give him a nice little action.
Which Disney scene did you enjoy animating the most?
Oh man. Probably my favorite shot I've ever done is a scene of Beast and Belle in front of the fireplace where they're arguing. He's just been injured by the wolves and she's trying to bandage him. And they get an argument about, whose fault it is and all of that. And, if you hadn't have run away, then this wouldn't have happened and all that kind of stuff. And there was a big banter back and forth. And Mark Henn and I animated that. I animated the Beast and Mark animated Belle. And I remember it took about a month to figure out the thumbnails, the actual choreography. It took a long time to figure out how I was going to animate it. See him turning his head there?
What were the challenges on directing Brother Bear?
The biggest challenge is story. The biggest challenge is always story. Production isn't too bad. I mean, there's certain times we have to compromise in order to stay on budget. But really the hardest part of the entire process is figuring out that story. And that's the part that I was weak at. And so it really took me a long time to hone my story skills. And fortunately, I had a really great, patient head of story. His name is Steve Anderson. He directed Meet the Robinsons and gone on to do a few other things. I think he did the Winnie the Pooh movie. And he's just a really great guy. And he was a great head of story.
How many movies did you animate on that particular desk?
Oh, probably 4. I know I did Aladdin, Lion King, Pocahontas, Mulan, Brother Bear on this desk. There.
Do you know when Disney stopped hand painting cells?
Yes, they stopped after The Little Mermaid. Can you see the animation?
Yeah.
Does it turn? Just worried about the camera angle. It's working. So there's that head turn. I want to really push that. Push that.
Have you ever worked with Butch Hartman?
I've never worked with Butch Hartman. There we go. Let's do another in between in there.
The pins at the bottom where the paper's linked to, doesn't that bother you while you're animating?
Not at all. In fact, I wouldn't be able to get by without them. No, they don't bother me at all.
So they don't get in the way of your wrist or anything like that?
Nope.
So what exactly is the background light used for? If
Some people in the cleanup department will use them for tracing, not tracing, but cleaning up line. Some animators do like to use a light camera. I just personally don't like to use it. I'd rather see the movement this way and try to draw according to the animation.
is it just that you don't like it because the background light kind of blows out the lines?
Yeah. Yeah, I see too many lines. I want to see the drawing that I'm drawing. Like I'm gonna bring the eyebrow down even more.
I know you answered this earlier, but for this latecomer, what's your favorite Don Bluth movie?
Secret of Nem.
Anastasia was made by Don Bluth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I like that.
I know you like Anastasia. So here, you can see we'll be turning around, doing a slow burn, that eyebrow coming down.
Genie in Aladdin had acted by parodying different personalities. Is a character like that harder to animate?
Oh yeah, the genie was super hard to animate. There's so much going on with the genie.
Like so many different personalities all in one.
Oh yeah, and there's there's a lot of action, that you can hear in that voice too.
If people are wondering, yes, it is currently raining outside. A storm is coming.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. It's pouring actually. We've been getting a lot of rain here in Florida. We're right at the height of our summer rainy season, so sorry about all the rain coming down.
It's raining, it's pouring.
I have a metal roof on my house. My house is 100 years old.
Yeah.
So
metal roofing.
I'm gonna squint those eyes. Squint it like Clint.
How many scenes did you have to draw per day?
Well, a scene is a shot, and so a shot could take as long as a week, 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, if it's a huge shot. So we never did sometimes if it was a short shot like this, like a character just turning around like this, I could do a scene in a day. Like this. But otherwise, it would take, like I said, up to several weeks to get a shot done. But, or a scene, I should say, because you could call it both. But we would do lots of drawings per day. As you can see, we're kind of cranking through the drawings now.
What's your favorite foreign animated movie?
Oh, wow. I like a lot of what Miyazaki does.
Yes.
Princess Mononoke I really like.
Yes, I totally agree.
Yeah, I know Dustin's a huge fan.
Huge Miyazaki, just anime in general. But when it comes to other animations around the world, I'll have to say another favorite would be Triplets of Belleville.
Oh, yeah.
That French animated.
Yeah, but we were up against Triplets of Belleville during the Oscars for Brother Bear. I love that movie too.
Such unique design to it, and not a single word of dialogue.
Yeah, and great music.
Yeah.
So here, you can see the slow burn. Can you maybe zoom in just a little tighter, Dustin?
Aye, Captain.
Just a little bit tighter. Just bring it up a little bit. There you go, like that, right there. Not too high. Going a little bit high. You getting a little high?
I gotta get a little high. Just don't forget your towel. Mr. Towley from South Park.
All right, so you can see I have him turning around, and you can see that squint getting really tight. But then what's going to happen is as he settles, the eye is going to come up, that eyebrow, as the last action. You'll see that eyebrow pop up. But I want to finish this drawing first. This is how we do our in-betweens. I'll look at, there's my drawing that goes in front of my in-between. There's the drawing that comes after the in-between, and there's the in-between. So we have to flip in the right order. And so it's constantly flipping back and forth so you can see that action.
Have you ever seen any animated series?
Have I seen any animated series?
Yeah.
I don't know what that means. Of course,
Like any animated shows or anything like that.
Have I seen any?
Yeah. Like, have you watched any?
Yeah.
What's your favorite?
I don't know. Right now, I like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, that's a good one. Morty!
I just think it's fun.
What do you think of the movie Spirit, Stallion of the Samaran?
I love Spirit. I love that movie. I wish I could have worked on that movie. That was DreamWorks. I was at Disney.
Yeah.
My good friend, Press Romanios, who isn't with us anymore, he passed away a few years ago. Press worked on that movie. Did a great job.
I like how the character is voiced by Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Do you like 2D or 3D, and which would you like to do in if you ever went back into animation?
Well, I mean, I like them both. Obviously, I love 2D. I mean, yeah, 2D, just because I like the handcrafted quality of it.
How'd you get into the animation business in the first place?
I needed a job. Really, no, that's what it was. I was graduating college, and I wanted to work for National Geographic, but they only freelanced, and I wanted a staff position, and so I found out that Disney was coming to recruit. I'd never thought about working for Disney before, but I thought it could be kind of interesting. Maybe I'd be a background painter. And that was in 1988. So I put together my portfolio, and I ended up getting in to this intern program where they wanted to see if they could teach non-animation people that hadn't been taught animation but had been taught how to draw and paint. They wanted to see if they could teach them animation. And so I got matched up with Glenn Keane, and he really got me hooked right away. And he really showed me the possibilities of animation.
How do you like How to Train Your Dragon 2?
Oh, I like the whole series. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Dean DuBois and Chris Sanders, who directed. They both directed the first one, and then Dean directed the second one. You know, they directed Lilo and Stitch, and I'm just a huge fan of theirs. Dean is one of the best story guys out there, and you know, when we were writing our movies, we would call Dean and ask him to have a look at our scripts and give us notes, because He's so good at what he does, and he's such a great person and artist, and so I love those movies. You know, Dean and Chris, they write from the heart, and that's one of the things I love about those guys.
For portfolio work, is it important to put a lot of time on presentation, or does that even matter?
Well, of course you want a decent presentation, because if it's a bad presentation, you're not going to be able to enjoy the good quality of work, hopefully, that you have in there. So, yeah, presentation is part of it, but obviously the work is what's most important. So you want that work to shine. And so you just got to make sure that it's in the best possible venue to be seen and presented, right? So here I'm because my in-betweens are starting to get really kind of close. Getting very careful. I don't want any wobbly lines, especially in the expression. You can see this eyebrow starting to come up. So as I start to get to this position, I get tighter and tighter. And that's why I spend a little bit extra time on that last key, because I know I'm going to get tight into it. Especially if it's a slow in, like I'm doing now. A slow in meaning the pose, I slow into that pose. It slows down as I get closer and closer to that pose.
Which is your favorite modern Disney princess?
My favorite modern Disney princess.
Like Rapunzel, either the sisters from Frozen, Moana, etc., etc.
Let's see. What was I can't remember her name now. From Princess and the Frog. I really liked her. I liked her spunk. She had a backbone to her. What was her name?
I can't remember.
Someone's gonna write it.
Yeah, somebody's gotta know it.
Princess and the Frog. What was her name? I liked Rapunzel too.
Yeah, I have to say mine is a tie between Moana and Penelope from Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh yeah, I forgot about her. I love Sarah Silverman. So here's that head turning. Tiana, thank you.
Thank you, guys. All of a sudden, the chat's blowing up with everybody going, "It's Tiana, Tiana, Tiana." So it's Tiana? Tiana? That's Tiana. How does Glenn Keane do so much great animation?
He's a great artist. And he's been doing it. I think he's been animating since 1977 or 76. So he's got experience.
I noticed that some of the sheets are getting wrinkled as you draw. Was that ever an issue while animating at Disney?
No, it's never an issue. The camera doesn't pick that up. And when the paper is being photographed, it's being put under a piece of glass, so the wrinkles get smoothed out. Yeah, the wrinkles are just part of the process. That's one of the things I love about seeing old animation drawings, is seeing those wrinkles. That's the mark of the animator, you know, or whoever the artist is at the time.
It's almost like their own fingerprint.
Yeah, I love that.
How long does a 2D Disney animated movie take to complete?
Usually it takes about 18 months to animate him. Probably 4 years, probably in total, to make the whole thing. Brother Bear took 6 years. We took a long time in story.
So I noticed that some of the sheets are getting wrinkled as you draw. Was that ever an issue on Animated Disney? Just kidding.
So now you can see that eyebrow start to rise up as he turns around slowly. Can you see that? Does it work, Dustin?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see the flips.
So I've got how many drawings? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 drawings to get that head turn. So that's kind of fun. I'm going to do one more. Just one more last little slow in drawing just to ease into that eyebrow. And you'll see it at this point, a lot of it's just line over line. Very subtle slowing. So I got to be very careful about where I put my lines now.
By the way, is this straight ahead animation or pose to pose?
It's both. I did straight ahead as I hit some of the poses, and now with the in-betweens, it's pose to pose.
What was it like working with Eric Goldberg?
Great. I mean, Eric and I didn't cross paths a whole lot. We worked on the same projects. Probably the closest I got with Eric was when he was directing Pocahontas, and I was working on, and I animated character Pocahontas with Glenn Keane.
Give us some tips from Glenn Keane.
Everything I tell you is from Glenn Keane. Everything I know, Glenn taught me. So if you get a tip from me, you're getting tips from Glenn Keane.
Would it be better to go to a school to learn about animation or take courses such as yours for time and money?
You know, it's really what's most comfortable for you. And I do have to say that I think colleges have gotten obscenely expensive, and I think, you know, you can get some really good education online from really accomplished animators. And I'm not just talking about, you know, using my site. There's a lot of guys out there that are teaching animation that are great that you can find online. The thing that you don't get when you go online, obviously, is camaraderie. You know, working when you're at school and college, you're working with other people a lot.
Have you seen Incredibles 2? That's another movie I have not seen yet.
We have not seen it, and I'm kicking myself because I really want to see it.
If you go see it, I would love to go with you, because I would love to see that movie as well.
There we go.
Is Disney still hiring 2D animators now?
No. No, Disney's not doing any 2D animation at all in the studio. Anywhere in the studio.
That's lame.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Ghibli movie? Or Hayao Miyazaki film?
Princess Mononoke. And My Friend Totoro.
Yeah, Princess Mononoke and Castle in the Sky for me. Love Castle in the Sky.
So at this stage, I'm getting really tight, trying to make sure my lines are hitting the right place.
How many sheets of paper does it usually take to animate one character?
Well, it just depends on how much that character's in the movie, right? So if the character's in the movie a lot, like the Beast and Beauty and the Beast, then it's going to take a lot of paper. So it really depends on how much of that character there is.
How do you flip the pages like that?
Practice, baby, practice. I've been doing it for 30 years. But it's really, you want to be able to, one of the reasons we peg down on the bottom is so that we can take 5 sheets of paper at a time and we can flip those drawings.
And how do you flip them, like with the...
I try to roll them one. If you watch my fingers.
So you
roll, yep, just I'm rolling my fingers back and forth like this. And what I do is you can see my head in the way. I like to get up over the top so I can see down inside in between the paper. That way I can see more of the drawing animating. So also, I just want to mention on my website, we just finished up a brand new course on storyboarding, and I know there's a lot of people out there interested in storyboarding, and it's by my good friend Lyndon Ruddy, who has worked at Disney and Sony, and he's currently at Blue Sky, and he's just one of the best storyboard artists I've ever seen, and so that's why we brought him in to do this course for us, and it's really been popular. So if you're interested in storyboarding, then head on over to creatureartteacher.com and you'll find his course there. Also, if you are interested in animation, I've got an animation course on my website where I talk about a lot of these principles that I'm showing you guys, and take you through all 12 principles of animation, what I think about when I'm animating dialogue, all that kind of stuff. And then also, as you heard me say in the beginning of the broadcast, that I'm also currently doing a course specifically on acting for animation.
Do you ever get paper cuts between your fingers flipping like that?
Yes, and it hurts. That was a funny question. Yep, we did. You just got to be really careful. So I don't know how much you can see this or not, but this is really close, subtle animation right now. So that's as much as I'm going to do on that.
Like how painful is the paper cuts between the fingers?
Think about how much it would hurt, and it hurts that much. So there's that eyebrow coming up at the end. A nice subtle. But I really try to think about, a character like this. When I design a character like this, I'm really thinking structurally. So I'm just going to take a little break from the animation and talk about expression. What I think about when I'm doing a character like this. First of all, when I construct a character like this, I'm thinking about proportion. So I know I want the top of his head to be small. I want a big heavy brow. I've got this nose that's got a curve on it that I think complements, not fights, complements all of the other squared off parts of the head. Bring that in like this. And I like, because of that big chin, I try to get this kind of angle to the head. So I bring the mouth out here, that chin follows that line. So overall, there's this wedge shape to the head. And then, just to add a little bit more to balance all the edges, the hard edges, I got this hairline that goes like that. So it just balances things out a little bit more. And then this big neck, the shoulders, like so.
Who do you think would win in an animal fight? A Bengal tiger or a saltwater crocodile?
It depends on the size of each, doesn't it? All right, so let's stay focused on structure. So now that I've got that, and I know I've got a plane on this side of the head, I've got the cheekbones. I still think anatomy. So if I'm thinking anatomy now, I can go, okay, well, I want him to be maybe down this way now. And so I know our forehead comes up like this. Here's that front plane on the forehead there. Well, there's a front plane on the forehead there. This is how we think about our characters at Disney, so that we can draw them consistently the same way every time. I know I've got this shape at the nose, and there's that curve coming down. Going to come in like that. There's that same curve right there. For there, the eye is going to be set way under the brow, because I want it to be set back inside the sockets. Once again, I'm thinking about anatomy. Cheekbones are going to come out like so, but not super far. I'm going to put the ear up here. There's that jaw. Remember, I want that wedge shape.
How does your camera setup look like when you're filming traditional drawing videos?
The camera setup?
The camera angle. The overhead.
Go ahead and switch to the other camera. So you can see I've got the camera right here. The actual camera is out at the top of the frame, but it's shooting down on me right here.
There's the camera up there.
Oh yeah, there it is. Switch back.
Oh, yep.
So there's that wedge shape again, but just from a different angle, right? So now I can also draw. Let me get rid of these so it's not distracting underneath. I can also draw, thinking about the anatomy, different expressions. So there's that brow. I'm going to be looking up.
Mind if I grab another drink real quick? I ran out.
Yep.
Awesome. I'll be right back.
So here we got an upshot, but I've got that curved nose, that brow coming down this way. And I want to make sure I'm paying attention to my perspective. So here my perspective is going like this. That means I want the corner of the mouth to match up, the bottom of the mouth to match that same perspective. So there you go. And then what happens? Well, if the cheekbones will come out here, we've got a big chin, right? And that chin is hinged like that, just like any other jaw. It's hinged right basically where the ear is. Well, the ear really is determined where the location of the ear is determined by the angle of the head. So since we have an upshot like this, that ear is back here. Because here's our cheekbone coming forward. Our teeth. This is how you work out your angles. Put an eye up right there.
Somebody wrote, the chin reminds me of Mufasa.
Mufasa, Mufasa, Mufasa. Yeah, the thing is, you want to keep your anatomy simple, right? And so, actually that head, I got out of proportion. It should be smaller, so I'm going to drop it down just a little bit. And then it comes back like this, and then right back into that big neck.
If National Geographic asked you to work for them as an employee, would you do it?
I would definitely think about it. That was always my lifelong dream.
Speaking of Blue Sky from earlier, have you seen the Ice Age franchise?
Oh, of course, yeah. Yep. So there is, and we could push the expression like so. Maybe a little piece of the eye over there. But you can see, once you understand that structure, that's the important thing when you're doing your character design. Whoops, I got to get that perspective right. Once you understand your structure, then you can really, and that you have to keep that structure simple. You can build a seemingly complex character on a simple structure, and that's kind of what we're trying to do here. So here's a character that's, you know, big and open mouth. And at the same time, I can draw that character very quickly. Same way. Watch this.
This is for the latecomers. Again, there's a few more folks asking what kind of pencil that is.
This is just a graphite, piece of graphite, and a pencil holder. So here's that curved nose again. Now he's gritting his teeth. Look how loose I can make this.
When you were working on Pocahontas, did you get to meet Mel Gibson?
No, I didn't meet Mel Gibson. He was a little hard to work with on that film too. So there is the same character, but now with just a few lines.
Where can I find a drawing desk?
You won't find one like that. If you find one like this, they every once in a while they come up. You gotta search all over. I don't know where you would find one like this, but you know, just Google animation desks. It's the best advice I can give you. There's that big neck. So you give that big neck, that all of a sudden this becomes his kind of signature look, right? There. So that's how we kind of, you know, when I'm creating a character, I try to keep it simple, keep the proportions simple. Here's our other one here. And then, you know, it enables you to animate that character, draw it a lot more easily. So here's our character turning around. So let's see if I don't know if I can flip it or not. We'll see. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it or not, flipping.
I think if you bring it just a little lower. Yeah, right there.
There he is. Just a few drawings.
By the way, did you ever get to meet Jeremy Suarez?
Yeah. You were there.
Yeah, I know. They don't know it.
Yes, I met Jeremy Suarez. I recorded him. I directed the movie.
And I got to hang out with him, and boy, is he a chatterbox.
So there's that head turn. So, and we got a little shot animated in about an hour and 15 minutes. So that's how I do a simple head turn with expression, pushing the expressions. In traditional animation, we could do something a little bit more complex next time, maybe. But I love doing this kind of stuff. Going back to the old school way of doing things. You can't beat paper. Paper is awesome. I really like working in TV Paint, working digitally, but there's just something about going back and hitting those drawings and having something physical, something physical that I can hold like this, and I've got a shot in my hands that actually moves. There it is, slowly turning his head.
I think it'd be really interesting for the YouTube channel. Just make like a short 10-minute on how to do the proper flip.
Yeah.
Like how to lay out your fingers and how to motion them.
Sure.
I think a lot of people would be interested in that.
But that's going to probably be it for today. Do you have any last minute questions that we want to go over?
Will you stream on Twitch sometime in the future?
Yes. Yes, we get that question every week.
I've been trying to talk him into it. Do you prefer drawing on paper or Cintiq?
I like them both. I really do. There's certain things you can do on a Cintiq that you can't do on paper, and vice versa. One of the things I love about paper, like I was just saying, is that I have something physical in my hand at the end. And but Cintiq enables me to I can be more experimental.
What's the difference between fine art drawing and animation drawing?
There isn't. If you're doing fine art drawing that's sequential, then you're doing animation, right? So I don't think there is a difference. When I'm doing my animation drawing, I'm doing all the same thing that I think about if I'm doing anything like fine art, where it's something that's supposed to go on the wall. I'm still thinking the same way. I'm still thinking structurally, still thinking in 3D forms.
If you were in a boy band, which archetype would you be?
I have no idea. The Beatles.
You'd be the artistic guy drawing in the corner.
Yeah. But anyway, I think I'm going to call it, you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun. You want to switch cameras?
Sure.
So that was great. It was a lot of fun, and I'd love to do more of that. I think we're going to do some actual animated scenes for some of the courses that I'm doing. And as I get further down the road and have some more animation done on paper, what I meant was actual animated scenes. I mean, we're going to actually animate them on paper. And so as we get down the road and I get those on paper, I'll share them with you. And I'll go over some of the processes that I think about when I'm doing it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much. Go out and try some animation on paper and put some beauty back in the world, because we need it. Go out and be nice to somebody. Help someone out. Just make the world a little bit better place each day if you can. And I'm going to keep drawing. I've got a lot of drawing left to do, so I got to get back to work on my digital stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, check out my website, creatureartteacher.com. I've got character animation there. I've got animal drawing courses. I've got digital painting courses. We've got color courses, story courses, storyboarding courses, all kinds of stuff on there that we've been building up over the years, and we're just going to keep building it up. So check that out. Also, I'll be back here next Thursday, same
Not
time,
Tuesday?
1 o'clock. What's that?
Not Tuesday? Oh, that
Thursday.
Thursday's YouTube, and then
Yep,
are we
and
doing
then Tuesday I'll be on Facebook.
right. That's fine.
So check if you want to catch up with me on either place. I'll be there, and hopefully we'll see you. So thanks a lot for joining me today, and I will talk to you later. Bye.
Later.